Hey everybody, Josh Lupresto, VP of Sales Engineering here at Telarus, back for Season 3 of Engineering Reviews, Race to the Summit. I'm here with Nick Proch, VP of Sales Engineering for North America for Fuze. Nick, thanks for jumping on, buddy.
Well, thanks for having me.
So
Great to be here.
Let's jump in. Let's learn a little bit about Nick. So anybody that's not familiar with you, talk to me about a little your background leading up to kind of your role and what that is now.
Yeah, so I've been with Fuze for about 8 years. So back when we were thinking phones, just doing PBX in the cloud telephony replacements, right? And I actually started on the sales side, so pretty well versed on the sales process and who we sell to and all that. And just from early days, I knew I was gravitating more towards the sales engineering and solution engineering side of it. Before I was at Fuze or then thinking phones, I was in customer IT support. So, I was always kind of doing technical troubleshooting, and that's where I gravitated to. So as time went on, I actually moved over to Australia with Fuze, helped set up that office over there, which kind of helped us dovetail into the Asia Pac market, and then came back to the US after about 2 years over there. Although sometimes I wish I was still there when I think about, we're getting snow here in New England where I'm at, and they're having nice sunshine. But I lead like you said, the North America sales engineering team now. So from our HQ down to Florida, all the way over to the West Coast, where we have our SCs throughout the country.
Awesome. So let's do a level set on Fuze. So partners that are watching these, right? There's a good handful of them that work with you. They know exactly where you guys fit, what you do. But I want to address that for everybody and kind of do a level set, right? Talk to me about just Fuze as a company, right? Where you guys have come and where you are now.
Yeah, sure. So we, like I said before, we started with probably, a goal that's really different from what we do now. So we started as thinking phones or thinking phone networks, if you look really far back. And some people are watching this might be familiar with that name or have sold it before or worked with it before. So that was all about cloud telephony, PBX replacement. About 5.5, 6 years ago, we actually acquired a company called Fuze and took their name because we rebranded around the idea of the total UCaaS, which was becoming popular at the time and now is obviously at the forefront of everyone's mind. So what we focus on is everything from voice. We still are very strong in the cloud telephony space, our meetings platform, contact center, and even collaboration where file sharing, instant message. So we're a whole suite of products, not just a telephony replacement or not just a meetings replacement. Customers may use us for one piece. They may be running something in parallel or they already have the contract with something. We can do that as well. But we have plenty of customer examples where we're running the whole gambit across all our services.
So let's talk about technical differentiators, right? We're both nerds here. Partners are coming to this to understand, help me understand why this supplier is different from this supplier from this one. I think our partners understand that you guys are definitely in that global conversation. You're definitely good with the large deals, but talk to me about more than that, right? Maybe including that, some key technical differentiators that you want partners thinking of when they think of Fuze.
Yeah, and the audience for this, right? You can find a lot of telephony replacements that can provide basic dial tone or can fit different size customers. Where we start to shine is really in the enterprise space. And by the way, we define enterprise as 500 users and above, right? So, there's a lot of customers that fit in the 500 to 1500 user range that are great fits for Fuze, depending on what they're looking to do. But a few things that, I wanted to highlight today were around our global reach. So our carrier connectivity around the globe, our data center infrastructure. So from Asia Pac down to Australia, like I said before, through Europe, South America, and obviously the US where we're based, and even South Africa where we do have a presence there as well for any customers that need it. And the way that we do that is we provide a global backbone that's private on our own network. So if somebody gets on the network in Singapore and needs to communicate to somebody in the US, stays on our transport and they have a great experience, whether it's voice, video, meetings, whatever it might be. And then on top of that, right, so that's kind of the guts. of the call and the media, we do a great job integrating into other platforms. So whether that might be something like your Microsoft Teams, whether that's Salesforce, we know that people don't want to always have to go to Fuze to make their phone calls or run their meetings. They want to work out of Salesforce, or they want to work out of Teams or out of the Google Suite, whatever it might be for that particular company. Those are a few of the highlights that we've seen this year in the past few years really help our customers.
So from a driving that down a little bit, I mean, this is a little bit redundant, but to form the niche a little harder. So we know customers who needed massive global reach. We know that you guys have great integration capabilities, right? You're ready for what the enterprise needs. And 500 and above, have you found that there's a sweet spot? Is it that 500 to 15? Is that the best way for partners to think of you most commonly? Or what do you see? I guess what's your most common seat size in that range?
Yeah, we're usually about the 1,000 user area, right around there. Obviously, that's an average, so we get some higher and lower. But where we really start to show the value that we bring, if you're in the 500 to 1,000 range, odds are you can deploy a service and manage it as a customer. It might not be easy, but relatively easy compared to somebody who has to deploy 2,500, 3,000 seats of whatever platform. Forget telephony or UCaaS, anything that they're rolling out. So where we start to shine is in that area where obviously the quality is one component of it, and the integrations and the product that you're rolling out, but on the people side as well. So because we're ready to deploy in that space with the project managers that are in-house, with customer service that's in-house and follow the sun, as part of our actual employee base, that's where we customers start to see some benefit. I don't think that there's really a top limit to that. Some of our largest customers are in the 20 to 30,000 user range. Obviously, they get a little bit more special attention, as make sure that things are good there, and dedicated customer success managers and that sort of thing. But there's not necessarily a cap to where we would go where somebody would say that's not a good fit for us.
Yeah, if you could pull down, 5,000 plus users, I have to imagine it doesn't get a lot more difficult as you go higher than that. You're pulling down 10, 20, 30. It's just you got to assign more people to it.
No, that's right.
Good. Okay. Any specific integrations? I think let's talk about that for a second, because partners come to us and a UC deal might start out as, who do we have that does the integration with X, right? And it might be this unique CRM or this ERP or who knows what. What are some integrations that you guys have that you feel have been super beneficial that you want to call out?
And you're absolutely right, by the way. How many conversations have we been in that have been, hey, we need something to integrate with just this CRM, and then we're in the sales process or in the customer's journey, and basically, actually the help desk uses this tool, and so and so uses this tool. So we're ready for that. The big one this year, since COVID started and the big shift for everyone working from home, outside of your normal CRM integrations like the Salesforce, Bullhorn, ServiceNow, and Dynamics are probably the key ones there, has been Teams, the big one there. And what we've seen is that a lot of customers, because they're on Microsoft Enterprise licensing, whether it's E1, E3, or E5, they don't necessarily have the capability to roll out a dedicated Microsoft Voice instance, or maybe the partner, that's not their specialty either. So in that case, we've gone two routes with that, and we're really flexible on this front. Either an integration, which is a plug-in integration, where you have your normal conversation. Let's just say I was talking to you in Teams, and hey, you want to hop on a phone call? You want to hop on a meeting? There's a Fuze button basically everywhere. So you try to make it nice and obvious. Click that, and it launches either a meeting, call, whatever you're trying to do using the Fuze telephony. Also works external if you're calling, customer or a partner outside of the Microsoft network. And then we also provide direct routing. So there's been some customers who have come to us and said, love the product, but we already have Microsoft installed. We don't want to install another thing on the desktop. That's great. I totally understand that. And, like I said, we're all about enablement and getting people up and running on the platform. So plug in direct routing from Microsoft, and we'll power that back end as well. So that's been a big success, and led to some of the key wins this year, really, where we've been able to run side by side with Microsoft, and the integration doesn't stop at Teams, right? How do you integrate into things like Outlook? How do you integrate into other parts of the suite, which is important?
That's good stuff too. And let's call out that Teams thing for a second, because early on, I don't think anybody knew what the expectation when a customer said, well, I'm already using Teams, right? How can you help me there? And partners obviously don't want to see that go direct. None of us want to see that go direct. We want to figure out how can we work with that, right? So it's been cool to see you guys and everybody's progression and adoption with regard to direct routing. So I guess the message to call out there is, regardless to how the customer wants to work within a Teams environment, use it primarily, only use it for collab, and use Fuze completely for voice. You guys don't care, right? And you're there to be flexible with whatever they want. So that needs to be, I think, the message that the partners receive. Good. Okay.
Yeah, and Josh, a lot of times the customers don't even know what they're looking for, and we found that out, just like you guys have, and the partners, that this changes and evolves as COVID happens and people are working from home. So we're there to kind of work through it with the customers and the partners as well.
Well, yeah, and I think the important thing too, that as partners hear how flexible you guys are, is to just call out in the discovery process, right? Whether they're doing that or we're doing that, just to help give you that information. To your point, you don't want to think it's all bullhorn, and then you find out, oh, by the way, 70% of our company's also using this for a screen pop and data dip, and it's a on-prem box, and we don't have any, So flush that out early of, okay, do you have Teams in the environment? How are you using it? Who's using it? What are your expectations? And what are all those other groups' expectations? I think you flush that stuff out early. There's a lot less, when we're all waiting to get the contract signed. By the way, that last thing's not so scary. So good points.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, again, helping partners differentiate a little further. If there are 2, 3, 4, whatever, other providers where partners say, help me even further understand if Fuze is stacked side by side amongst their competitors, what are maybe just a couple other differentiators that you want partners to think about when they're trying to figure out if it's you or if it's somebody else?
Yeah, another use case that's been really, really powerful for us this year, or feature set, has been our contact center. So we have an in-house contact center, Fuze Contact Center, very simple with the naming around here so people don't get confused. So we've got the offering that's primarily voice-based right now. We do offer SMS and chat as part of that, but the voice-based contact center, that's part of the same application. So if somebody logs in and says, they're an agent or a supervisor, it'll all stay in the same application as their soft phone, as their collaboration tool, as their meetings tool. That's another area where we've kind of separated ourselves a little bit from our typical competition. Like others out there, we partner with Nice in Contact and Five9 for, as you get into the more complicated customer service centers or outbound dialer, big campaign shops that are out there. But actually, a lot of times we've seen somebody needs that. Let's just say they need a Nice in Contact or a Five9 for a that customer support center, but they need the contact center as well for their internal help desk, but they don't need to pay the sticker price that goes along with In Contact or Five9 or all the functionality you get with that. It's about having the flexibility to do both that we've seen ourselves differentiate compared to some of our typical competition there this year.
Love it. Good. I think that flexibility is key, right? Because we don't always know exactly what the customer needs, and even within the organization, everybody's needs are different. So I think it's cool that you guys have the option to kind of tier that based on what they need, right? So they're never paying more than they should. So good stuff there.
Right.
So I think we've learned a lot. I think we've level set on where you guys differentiate, what the stack looks like, what some of the options are. Let's talk about a win. Partners always love to hear that. Talk to me about somebody that you were brought into, kind of what you were told the problem was or why you were being brought in, and then what did that environment look like, and kind of what did you put in so that, what has that experience been like after?
Yeah. So I thought one that came to mind is actually Skechers. right? So the shoe brand, a lot of people know them as sneakers, that sort of thing. So they came to us right after COVID really sent everybody home, and this was based out of our California sales office. That team worked on this project. They came to us with the problem of the retail locations. I mean, everyone knows it's became immediately difficult to go into a retail location for any industry, and because of COVID, masks, and all those sorts of things, and social distancing. So they didn't have a way with all of these different retail locations on local POTS lines and a big mess of different systems out there, whether it was from new stores they opened over time or acquisitions of locations. They didn't have a way to get them on one system, but then also enable those people who are working in retail when they could go back into those locations to communicate with customers, whether it's using something like a mobile app on their phone, sending SMS through there if they were going to do like a curbside pickup, that sort of thing. So that was kind of the initial problem that we were set out to tackle, and that was a relatively easy one for us to fix, right? We have a built-in mobile app that's part of the licensing structure with SMS, and we can enable the offices to become one on the platform. But as we started to kind of peel back the layers of the onion, we realized, well, there's a large logistics component to this. There's a supply chain component to this. So that's where our global reach came in, where communicating to different countries where some of these products are made, whether it's in the Asia Pacific market, they have distribution centers throughout the US, Asia, Europe. We're able to put those all on one platform. So that's where it kind of evolved. And oh, by the way, they're a Microsoft Teams customer. So this one kind of highlighted all of our strengths that we've kind of honed in on today, obviously. So that felt like a really good fit to talk about. And for them now they're on one platform. They're integrated with Teams, so their users don't have any limitations for what they can and can't do in terms of dialing or video meetings. And then we've enabled them from a global perspective as well. That really they've never been on one platform before, so that was a big win for them.
Awesome, good logo, good story. Last but not least, let's look into the future. So as we're going into 2021, partners are prospecting, they're building pipeline, all that good stuff. What should we expect from Fuze over the next 6 to 12 months? Features, enhancements, integrations, any kind of cool stuff that you can share without getting in too much trouble? Partners want to hear it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I'll get in trouble anyway for whatever I'm about to say, but
that's fine. Just keep going.
Yeah, I will. The story around Teams was a really interesting one for us in terms of a learning experience. It was really one of the first times that we put our soft phone and the things that we do externally into other platforms, and really had a good use case for it, obviously, with people wanting to use Teams. So that started to build our roadmap over the next 6 to 12 months. We enhanced the Salesforce integration because that's the big CRM out there as part of that with Teams. So a lot of the focus is going to be bringing whatever part of our UCaaS suite that you're using, whether it's contact center or voice or video, into other applications, and not just things like your Teams collaboration, but I'm working in ServiceNow and I need to make a phone call or contact somebody. We want those interactions to live in somebody's, wherever they are, their CRM, their ERP system, their help desk tool. So that's one key area. Touched on a little while ago. The contact center is the other kind of large rock that we're going after. I don't think we're going to be going up against the Five9s and Seranovas and Nice Contacts of the world anytime soon in terms of omni-channel and workforce management and all those sorts of things. But we do want to start to have an omni-channel offering of some sort, whether that's you're on a voice interaction, you want to escalate that to video. We already have those tools built in. So those will be kind of two big areas of focus for us as we go into 2021.
Good stuff. Okay. That brings us to the end. Nick, man, I appreciate you coming on doing this with me, buddy.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's it, partners. Season 3, Race to the Summit. Today's engineering deep dive with Nick Proch, VP of Sales Engineering from Fuze. Nick, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, partners.